Well, folks, it finally happened. The Supreme Court has spoken, and they've decided that your favorite app for learning the renegade and watching pimple-popping videos is a threat to national security. That's right. TikTok, the app that's basically become the digital equivalent of a fidget spinner for Gen Z, is officially on the chopping block. Now, I know what you're thinking, John. How can a bunch of teenagers doing the WAP bring down the greatest country on earth? And to that, I say, look, I don't make the rules. I just point out how incredibly stupid they are. But in this case, the concerns go a little deeper than just some questionable dance moves. The main issue here is good old-fashioned Sino-American tension. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is based in China, and that's got some folks in Washington worried about what kind of data the app might be collecting on its users. Are they just tracking your favorite dance challenges and cat videos? Or are they secretly building a database of your deepest, darkest secrets to use against you in some kind of future cyber warfare campaign? It's a question that's divided the nation, with some people screaming about the imminent threat of communist infiltration, and others just wanted to know if that one guy ever finished building his tiny house out of popsicle sticks. So buckle up, folks, because this is going to be a bumpy ride through the wild world of TikTok, national security, and the eternal struggle between freedom and safety. Let's dive in, shall we? In a move that surprised absolutely nobody, the Supreme Court, in their infinite wisdom, decided to uphold the Trump-era ban on TikTok. That's right, folks. The highest court in the land looked at all the evidence, weighed the arguments, and basically said, yeah, dancing teenagers are a clear and present danger to national security. Now, I'm not a legal expert, but even I know that this ruling is about as popular as a fart in a spacesuit. TikTok has become a cultural phenomenon, especially among younger Americans, and the thought of the app disappearing has sent shockwaves through the internet. Of course, the government claims that this is all about protecting us from the nefarious clutches of the Chinese Communist Party. But they argue that TikTok could be used to spy on American citizens, spread propaganda, or even influence elections. And while I'm sure those are all very real concerns, I can't help but feel like they're maybe overestimating the average TikToker's attention span. Let's be real, folks. If the Chinese government really wants to subvert American democracy, they're probably better off investing in some better propaganda than whatever the hell Charli D'Amelio is doing with her eyebrows these days. But hey, I'm just a comedian. What do I know? Okay, so what exactly is this law that's got everyone in a twist? Well, it's called the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, or PFACA, because apparently coming up with catchy acronyms is hard work. Essentially, this law gives the government the power to ban any app they deem a national security risk, and they're using it to target TikTok like it's the last roll of toilet paper during a pandemic. The main concern is that because TikTok's parent company is based in China, the Chinese government could potentially force them to hand over user data or even use the app to spread propaganda. Now, I'm not saying that the Chinese government is made up of a bunch of saints, but I'm also not convinced that they're sitting around in a dark room, stroking a hairless cat and plotting to take over the world through viral dance trends. I mean, have you seen some of the stuff that goes viral on TikTok? It's mostly just teenagers doing weird dances and lip syncing to songs they probably don't even understand. If that's the best China's got, I think we're going to be just fine. Section 4, national security or national paranoia, the case against TikTok. So the government's big argument for banning TikTok boils down to this national security. They claim that the app poses a significant risk because the Chinese government could potentially access user data or use it to spread propaganda. Now, on the surface, that might sound like a legitimate concern. China does have a history of censorship and surveillance, and it's not entirely unreasonable to think they might try to use a popular app like TikTok to further their own interests. But here's the thing, there's no actual evidence that TikTok is doing any of that. The government hasn't presented any concrete proof that TikTok is sharing user data with the Chinese government, nor have they shown any evidence that the app is being used to spread propaganda. It's all just speculation and fear mongering, which, let's be honest, is kind of America's MO these days. Look, I'm all for protecting national security, but when we start banning popular apps based on nothing but conjecture and paranoia, we're venturing into some dangerous territory. It sets a bad precedent and opens a door for the government to censor any form of media they deem a threat, even if that threat is completely imaginary. And that, my friends, is a slippery slope I'm not willing to slide down. Section 5, can't stop the bop. TikTok's First Amendment fight. TikTok isn't taking this lying down. Their lawyers are arguing that the ban violates the First Amendment, which guarantees free speech. They might have a point. TikTok is a platform for expression, where people share thoughts, ideas, and dance moves. Banning the app silences millions and stifles creative expression, especially among younger generations. The government shouldn't decide what forms of expression are acceptable. That's a slippery slope to censorship. And trust me, nobody wants to live in a world where the government decides what we can and can't watch on our phones